and welcome to another Six Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight. Today we have for you the contest winner for Zap's article that he wrote for Magnet. This was a deck that was supposed to be all focused around Fusoya. He put a list up, people submitted some lists, and we picked the best deck out of those submissions. Now again, I am so sorry for all those that did not follow the rules, but you were supposed to read it. There's a lot of stuff in there, and we only had, I think, about 50% of the submissions that were legal for the contest. So, Shaddie, congratulations. This is your winning list. You'll be picking up a sweet Ultimate Guard prize pack, which we'll get to you, but this is the deck. It was all focused around Fusoya. Again, Fast and Fusoya is what he's called it. Obviously, he'll play on Fast and Furious. All the EX bursts you could ever want in the deck. And it's all focused around using Wind Water, utilizing the discard so you can get rid of the extra copies you don't need, and really putting to work the backup we all know, we all love, that just pings your entire board for 7,000 damage if you can activate it multiple times with Hope, for example. So first we're going to talk about all the forwards, and then talk about the summons, and then wrap it up with the backups. So let's do it. Up first we have 3 Zidane, or Zidane. No surprise here. Card is still very, very good, and just being unblockable, can't be targeted, can be very rough for your opponent. When everyone's focused on spot removal right now, Zidane just gets through and is a threat your opponent just has to eventually deal with. Starting off the EX Burst chain, we have 3 Paine. Really do love this one because it can just chump block when it needs to, but it is an EX Burst that lets you find Rikku and Yuna, which are very, very important to this deck, and especially if you're facing a lot of gold bets, for example. Being able to find your backup 5-cost Yuna can be absolutely critical to success. So this was kind of a given. And again, hitting any of these off the Fusoya damage is just wonderful. 2 of Paine to round it out because this card, when you have Rikku and Yuna already, is just such value in being able to tap backups. Again, if you're playing, if you have Fusoya in the field already, you can use that and kill off 2 things in a turn. So use Fusoya, kill something for 7k, play Paine, of course if the conditions are met, untap your backups, and then get to ping something else, get to clear the board that way. Yes, you are taking point of damage, but you'll see in a few cards that we do have a very good reason for taking all these points of damage. Guess what? Even more backup activation in the form of Hope. So I really hope you guys will like this. Again, same case as Paine, but it's a 7k, so it can usually do a little bit more work, and it'll just give us multiple activations of our backups. Now again, that can be something like being able to use Aerith if we really need to, using Planet Protector, making our guys active on our turn, then playing Hope, activating it, maybe using Planet Protector again on their turn if we need to. There are a bunch of little interactions like that that you can utilize. Finally, talking about some heavy hitters, we have Wakka. Man, this guy has just been a favorite of mine with playing Legendary Tidus because we can make Legendary Tidus huge and, you know what, near impossible to kill. So I think this is a great card for the deck, especially with status reels, because there's going to be times where you're just dealing with a very difficult forward. No surprise, Emperor Zidane, whatever. Getting to negate his 9k effect or even the 5k on attack, and then shrinking him to a 1k in the middle of combat is absolutely amazing effect to do. So if you're playing water, I mean, Wakka is just such a versatile card that I absolutely think you should be playing. Then we have, I mean, how can we not play this guy? 3 Legendary Tidus. Man, I have been missing this guy in the Opus 2 meta. I'm not going to say that this is the perfect deck for him. Again, this was for a deck building contest, but when you're pinging yourself for a bunch of damage and getting in multiple activations a turn and getting yourself to 6 points of damage, Blitz Ace is going to end the game a lot sooner than you think. And again, because we are playing a bunch of other things that either flood the board or get other targets out for us, chances are he's not going to die to your opponent's backup, unless they have like a Lulu's Thundaga or something that's going to be able to ping it for 10k or even more. So it's always going to be a threat that your opponent is using multiple cards to have to clear out. Then a card that is going to surprise a lot of people because we usually don't talk about it enough, but I suppose it has its home here. 4-drop Rikku that, again, assuming you have the combo already set up, which it's so easy to do in this deck like you have no idea, this is just going to sit there and be a 10k wall for you to block with. your opponent can't interact with it, and it makes it very, very difficult. Now, because we're going to be playing Minwu, and if hopefully we can just dodge the Earth matchup so they don't get rid of our one Minwu, this is just going to be a 10k that's going to block everything your opponent throws at it. So she is great for being able to stall the game out until you find your Tidus. You get to Blitz Ace for the win, and just be a very difficult card for your opponent to answer. A one of Ghis. This is the Water Judge that lets you filter out more cards. And again, this became very important to understand why we're playing it. And again, you play a 4 of any element except water, or 3 or less from your hand when you play them, so you can play the Paine again, either version for either the tutor or the untap effect. You get to draw 2 cards and discard 1, so we get to get rid of those extra light cards. And you'll see that there's just so many filter options. And there's 7, if I believe I counted correctly, different filter options in this deck, so we can churn through our deck faster, find the extra copies of Tidus, and discard our extra light copies we don't need. So an 8k body might not be the most impressive, but it certainly helps with the filtering. And then 2 of Cecil. We really needed something that's going to have buffs our team in terms of giving everything plus 1000 power. Obviously, he's very difficult to deal with himself unless your opponent has the party attack, and then he's a bit easier to remove, but all in all, just a really solid water legend for the deck. And then lastly, a one of Tidus, really just for being able to play the Blitz Ace more often. And again, sometimes if you have Cecil out on the field already, having a 10k Brave with Minwu backup is just good enough. Now we're going to be moving into our summons. Absolutely no surprise. And again, all of these are EX bursts. So we're going to have 10 summons that are all EX bursts, so it's a very good chance that we're going to be hitting some EX bursts while we're using the backups as necessary. So Moogle, again, drawing 2 cards, discarding 1, filtering through your deck, and getting rid of those extra light copies of cards. Absolutely mandatory if you're going the 3 light backup route. 3 Leviathan, again, there's going to be some moments where you get to ping something for 7,000, hit this off the top, bounce your other opponent's best forward, and just have this amazing tempo swing. So those turns are absolutely all what this deck is about. 2 of the Impure, and you get to choose a forward and shrink it. So again, in combination with Fusoya, this can do some interesting things. And again, gets you to draw a card. So really important again for drawing through our deck. And then 2 of Baleful. Now this one has been not getting a lot of love lately, but I absolutely can see this, especially if we see more Golbez. I can see this one picking up, getting to deal 3,000 damage to all your opponent's forwards, and if you have, if you control Yuna, which it can be the backup in this case, you get to activate all backups you control. So then again, you get to just ping something else. So again, let's activate everything, let's deal all the damage, and get through where we need to get through for those points of damage. Lastly, we're going to be talking about the backups. Now, I'm starting off with this one because the one thing you might notice is that there's no 2-drop backups, and I would love to see Archer in this list. Probably over Nora if I just had to pick a card to get rid of, but she's an EX burst, so she has a home. I would love to see that 5 to 6 2-drop count. Now that said, this is going to come into play more often as you're going to have, let's say, 3 Paines in your hand at one time. You don't need all 3, you can just discard one of the other ones, you don't care about it, and then you're going to get to draw 2 cards and discard 1. So because this does, in theory, net you a card when you play it, it is a 2-drop in that sense. And again, being able to hit this off the EX burst is absolutely nothing but love. This is Moogle 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I talked about the entire video. I'm just going to highlight it here. Yes, we're playing 3. Yes, we're digging through a lot of our deck. Yes, we have a lot of filtering options. That was the entire point of the deck builder contest and why we really wanted to challenge people to brew with the shell that Zap gave and try to figure out what the best use of this deck will be. And we are going to be playing this on camera at some point as soon as we have time to record a game. And again, really, all the filter effects lets us be able to run 3 of these. And yes, I'm sure there's going to be some moments where it gets stuck in my hand. We're going to have a bit of a feel-bad moment, but that said, the backup is insanely powerful, and what it can do for this deck specifically sincerely warrants being able to play 3 of these and have all the filter options, which can then end the game with Legendary Tidus. Singleton Minwu. Another card again, if I was going to change some numbers, I'd like to see a second one. Yes, we are drawing through a lot of our deck very fast at a high velocity, but I think this card is just so important for having that Rikku wall that we had mentioned earlier, just to wall off our opponents and just stall the game a little bit in our favor to set up. Two brother, no surprise here. Again, being able to search for Tidus when we need him is absolutely critical. Not to be underrated here, though, we can also search for our other Final Fantasy X forwards, which can then, if we get to live the dream and combo off, brother can search for Paine, which can then search for Rikku or Yuna if we want to do all the value digging at that point. So I love brother in this list. Usually, you know, the auto grab is just Tidus, but I think he can do some extra digging for us in this deck when needed. And I mentioned Nora. Again, just being an EX burst is great value where we want to be, and it allows us to play Hope, which then allows us to create this tempo advantage. We're gaining a card, we get to untap a backup, which then hopefully lets us play more forwards from our hands because we're actively drawing more cards than our opponent, or on average should be outdrawing our opponent. So there's a lot of ways for us to get more cards in our hand, which then again, drawing cards in this game is essentially ramp. So I do love Nora for being able to find Hope in this list. 3 Aerith, again, really should be no surprise. Hopefully the way that this game is going to go, and you know, in Christmas Magical Land, we're going to be playing these backups early. We're going to have all these different value plays, like playing Hope, hitting some Moogle, and hitting Maryland, for example, drawing the extra cards, having like 7 or 8, which is not unheard of. I've done that multiple times in Wind Water. Cards in hand at start of turn, then we're just going to pump out a bunch of guys, use Aerith, untap our backups, do it again, and have a very, very scary board presence. So Aerith is here to stay for a very, very long time. And then lastly, we have Yuna. Now, not a lot needs to be said about this card for being an EX person being able to bounce something. However, what does need to be said is that it gets around Golbez and the Emperor and all those other annoying cards. And because we're playing Paine and we can just tutor this up whenever we need to, I think it's absolutely critical to understanding how important this card can be in the matchup. And again, just being able to bounce something is also going to be great value. So, 2 of these, tutorable, absolutely great. So that's it. That's the list. I think this is going to be a very fun starting point for a lot of people. That if you want to have fun with it, if you want to really try to abuse this interaction, or you know, to have all these extra cards, give this list a try. So thank you very much again to Shaddie for winning the contest. All of the people who submitted them. Thank you very much to Richard Zapp for writing the article and coordinating all this. We will be doing this every Opus release and try to find these, you know, off-the-wall brews and try to get people happy about putting out submissions, trying to figure out what they think is going to be good, and really just get the community brewing. And we want to have this be a more community involvement project. So thank you very much for watching, guys. That is all I have on this video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We sincerely appreciate it. Make sure to check out FFTCGmognet.com for all your Final Fantasy trading card game database needs, and we'll be bringing you so much more on that. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next 6 Sages Gaming Deck Spotlight. Have a good one.